Let's interpret the phrase subtract 3 1/8 from the sum of 3 and 2 3/5 into a mathematical expression. Once we have that expression, we'll use order of operations to simplify it to a single number. So to begin, reading left to right, we interpret the word subtract, meaning minus, the fraction 3 1/8, or mixed number 3 1/8. From the sum of. The sum of this last phrase here suggests that we're going to first add, since the word sum means plus, these two expressions, 3 and 2 3/5. So the phrase subtract 3 1/8 from the sum of 3 and 2 3/5 becomes the group or parenthesis 3 plus 2 3/5, and we'll add that first, then subtract 3 1/8. So using order of operations, we'll first add the fractions together within the parentheses, and then afterwards subtract 3 1/8. Moving forward, in order to add and subtract fractions, it would be best if we had an improper fraction instead of mixed numbers. So let's first convert each one of these fractions to an improper fraction. So 3 we could write as 3 over 1, since any number could be written as itself over 1. Plus, now let's convert 2 3/5 to an improper fraction. To do this, we'll multiply 5 times 2, and then add 3, and write that over the denominator. 5 times 2 plus 3 over the denominator. We'll add these two fractions first. Finally, we'll subtract off, and converting 3 1/8 to a improper fraction, we'd multiply 8 times 3, and then add 1, and write that over 8. So 8 times 3, add 1 over 8. Simplifying these two numerators, this problem will become 3 over 1 plus 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3 is 13 over 5, minus, and 8 times 3 is 24, plus 1 is 25 over 8. Now we're ready to add the fractions 3 over 1 and 13/5 together. For us to add fractions together, we need the same common denominator. So what's the smallest number that both 1 and 5 both divide into? Well, that would be 5. So we would like both these fractions to have a common denominator of 5 that we're adding together. And by the way, before we move on, we're still subtracting 25/8 from that result. Our next goal is to convert both fractions into a fraction with 5 in the denominator. We see that 13/5 doesn't have any work to be done, so we'll write 13/5 again. But our first fraction needs to be converted to an equivalent fraction. So we ask to ourselves, 1 times what would become 5? Well, we'd need to multiply that by 5. And so we'd also multiply the numerator by 5 as well, to make an equivalent fraction 15/5. Now we're ready to add these two fractions together. And adding two fractions together will keep the same common denominator, but add the numerators. So 15 plus 13 will become 28. So now we have 28/5 minus 25/8. The next stage is to subtract these two fractions, and again we'll need common denominators so that we can subtract the numerators. So again we're asking ourselves, what's the smallest number that both 5 and 8 both divide into? So the smallest number would be 40. We want both of these fractions to have the smallest number they both divide into, which would be 40. So we need to convert both fractions into fractions that have this common denominator. How to do it? Multiply 5 by something to get 40. We'd have to multiply that by 8. So multiplying the bottom by 8, we'd multiply the top by 8. At this stage, it may be useful to use a calculator. So we'll bring up a TI-83 calculator. And so we already know 8 times 5 is 40, but 8 times 28 becomes 224. 224. So 28/5 becomes the equivalent fraction 2/24. Similarly, to convert our other fraction, we need to multiply 8 by a 5 to get 40. So we'll also multiply the numerator by 5. 5 times 25 is 125, if I'm correct. Sorry about the color. This becomes 125 over 40. Now that we have the same denominators, we can subtract the numerators. So we do know that this will become 40, and we're left with 224 minus 125 on top. Again, maybe a calculator would be easiest in this problem. So 224 minus 125 becomes 99. So our fraction becomes 99 over 40. If the direction said write the answer as an improper fraction, that would be it. However, our problem started off with mixed numbers, so maybe we should write our answer as a mixed number. 99/40ths, to convert to a mixed number, we'll divide 40 into 99. We note that 40 divides into 99 twice. That would be 80. And 80 from 99 would leave a remainder of 19 out of what we were dividing by. So 99/40ths converted to a mixed number would be the mixed number answer of 2 and 19/40ths as our final answer.